Hello, aspirants. Welcome to the Hi-Fi of the Day by Alchemy IAS Institute. I am Suhas, and we are going to discuss the 5 most important news of the day. There was news about Project Cheetah. The news says that animal now well adapted and paper counters the Project Cheetah's criticism. So, Project Cheetah got criticism that 10 of the reintroduced cheetahs got died, and 3 of the cheetahs were cubs. And it says that it is due to mismanagement. That critics says that it is due to mismanagement and less adaptability of cheetahs in India. But the National Tiger Conservation Authority says that these sudden death of cheetah was not because of this mismanagement. Cheetahs were actually ecologically adapted to India now, and there has been a significant progress in the last 2.5 years. And death occurred due to the unforeseen climate changes like heavy rains and cold stress. And this is not a project failure. And we used the soft release method, like keeping the animals in a larger enclosure before full release, and which is internationally accepted and proven technique. So what is the relevance for UPSC? It is important for GS paper 3 in environment, wildlife conservation, species and reintroduction. GS paper 2 governance, center state coordination in conservation policies, and the terms we need to remember in the UPSC perspective, that is soft release technique, like what it is actually soft release technique. Ex situ conservation, like conserving one animal, taking from its original habitat and conserving it in like a zoological park, like a zoo. And biodiversity management and rewilding, the technique that we leave that forest, or it's like we leave the ecosystem to be nurtured back again. And the news is about Justice Suryakant, a Supreme Court judge. He says that judiciary helps sustaining India's democratic character when he was addressing the Indian diaspora in US. And he's emphasizing on the role of Indian judiciary in sustaining democracy, anchoring constitutional values, and uniting India's diverse population, both at home and abroad. So, what are the constitutional values which is protected by the judiciary? Judiciary safeguard the justice, fairness, inclusivity, and dignity of an individual. And there are these are not just symbolic but actively lived and institutionalized. Okay, this is not a symbolic thing. Judiciary actively protecting these values, and judiciary serves as the pillar that connect both Indian citizen and a global diaspora. So it is a connecting pillar, connecting bridge, that when diaspora is facing any injustice, they can approach the judiciary without being in India. And keywords to use in mains, that in this perspective, judiciary as a guardian of the constitution, institutional pillars of democracy and unity in diversity through constitutional values, and diaspora and soft power diplomacy, justice, fairness and inclusion. The relevance of UPSC is General Studies Paper 2, Judiciary as a Guardian of the Constitution, uphold values like justice, equality, and dignity, resolve legal conflict and binds diverse society, and protect the right of citizen and diaspora. In GS paper 1, judiciary's role and preserving cultural identity of Indian diaspora. And in the perspective of prelims, the concept like constitutional morality, rule of law, fraternity, which is mentioned in preamble, and judiciary's engagement beyond the national border. Axiom 4, NASA's space mission that sent space tourist travelers to International Space Station. So why it was in news, why it is important for us? Okay, Group Captain Subhanshu Shukla from India, from Indian Air Force, has traveled to the International Space Station as part of the Axiom 4 mission, and this is a major milestone in India's space journey, and it will help India's advance its own human space program, that is Gaganyaan. So how this thing will help in Gaganyaan mission? Then our Subhanshu Shukla has traveled to the space. Human space exploration is very complex, and ISRO's Gaganyaan is still in the development stage, and India needs practical astronaut training and space mission experience. And Shukla's involvement gives India's direct access to the real-time learning from international space mission like Axiom 4. So what is the Axiom 4 mission is doing? There are 60 plus science and technology experiments, including growing crops in the space, studying the muscle loss and gaze pattern, and analyzing brain activity in the space, and medical research and computer uses in microgravity. So what is the relevance for UPSC? In GS paper 3, science and technology, human space flight in India, international collaboration in space, again soft power diplomacy, application of space, and GS paper 2, international relations. role of space diplomacy and India's rising profile in global science cooperation. There was a news about tardigrade, that 8-legged microscopic creature we call it as water bears, tardigrade. What are tardigrades? They are also called as water bear and moss piglet, are tiny aquatic 8-legged microscopic animal. They have existed for 600 million years and surviving mass extinctions and extreme conditions. And they can be only at 0.5 millimeter long and with crawling legs and special mouths to suck the nutrition. You can see in the figure, and found everywhere from mountain to deep ocean, often living in mosses and lichens. So how they survive? Like how can, like they survive in extreme temperature condition, like minus 272 degrees Celsius to 150 degrees Celsius. They can survive in this huge range of temperature, and high radiation they can survive, and pressure up to 40,000 times of Earth atmosphere pressure they can withstand, and they can withstand in vacuum space also. What are the two survival strategies they are using? One is cryptobiosis, that slow down the metabolism to near to zero, and another one is anhydrobiosis, like lose more than 95% of the body water and still survive. These are the two mechanisms that is used for surviving, and they also produce CAHS protein, that is cytosolic abundant heat soluble protein, which create a protective gel inside their body. This protein is exclusively present in water bears, that is tardigrades only. And why this is important for us? By getting this information, like it will help in make rope more resilient and develop better sunscreen, preserve human organs for transplantation, and understanding how life could survive in space journeys or even other planets. So in other planet, if we want to survive, we can use the tardigrades as a reference thing. And it is important in the UPSC perspective that GS paper 3 science and technology and GS paper 1 essay also, like human curiosity and science innovation and life beyond Earth. In those topics, we can use this. Another one news is before China's curbs, India's permanent magnet import nearly doubled. So what China is doing, China is going to curb the export of permanent magnet. Okay, so in India, the permanent magnet import has been doubled. We are importing nearly double in this financial year. We have imported double of the last year's range, and these magnets contains rare earth elements like niobium and lanthanum. Around 93% of these import came from China. So China is going to curb the export. So this availability will be less in future. So we are purchasing huge amount of these permanent magnet. So why this is matter? When China is curbing the export of these rare earth elements, strategically, like national security wise also, this is important because we are using this magnet in electronic items, including defense equipments. And India rushed to import a large quantity before the curve. And how about India's domestic production? India does produce the rare earth magnet through Indian Rare Earth Limited, but the processing capacity is very low and high-end magnet making is virtually non-existent in India. And now what India is doing, India is setting up a plant in Hyderabad, like setting up domestic plants like in Hyderabad, and import more from Vietnam, Myanmar, Australia, Brazil, and Sri Lanka, and create a long-term connection with the non-China suppliers. So why it is important for UPSC? It is important in GS paper 3, economy, science and technology and international relations, sorry, internal security. Critical minerals, that strategically autonomy, critical minerals, import dependency in defense and electronic vehicle sectors, and role of rare earth in the clean energy. The key terms which we should remember is rare earth element. There are 17 elements crucial in electronics and green technology, and niobium iron boron magnet, which is the most powerful permanent magnet, and Indian Rare Earth Limited, government public service undertaking involved with rare earth exchange. And finally, the question of the day, with reference to rare earth element, consider the following statements. Rare earth elements are critical for manufacturing high-strength permanent magnet used in electric vehicles and wind turbines. India is self-sufficient in processing and manufacturing rare earth permanent magnet. China is currently the largest explorer of rare earth elements and rare earth magnets globally. And IREL Limited is a public sector enterprises involving in the extraction of rare earth oxides in India. Which of the statements given above are correct? And comment your answer below in the comment section.